Hello, friends. Happy Thursday. Here we are again. You'll have to excuse my snuffy nose. My allergies are just getting the best of me. And so, yeah, I'm a little snuffy. My name's Janet, and thank you for visiting my channel. If you're new here, I hope you will stick around and subscribe. And I have got a fun hoodie card to share with you today. So my friend and upline Jo, she does a monthly card and coffee, and so we made these hoodie cards at her house, and I had already ordered the set for myself, but I hadn't played with it just yet, but now I have. And what makes this so fun is the die set. So as you can see, it's got these zipper elements, it's got two different pulls, it's got pockets and trim and the dies to cut out the images that are in the stamp set. This is available now, and you can purchase it in a bundle and save 10%. If you don't have a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator and you'd like to shop with me, I will have the link to my online store in the description box after the video. So, the first thing we're going to do, oh, and this is a red rubber cling stamp set. So the first thing that I think makes your whole card easier is to create a template for this particular card. So you're going to, I just used a piece of thick cardstock to create my template, and it's cut to our normal card size of 5.5 by 4.25. Okay. I have written some with my really not good handwriting, some numbers and stuff on here so that if you want to screenshot this or just jot it down while I'm talking about it, you'll have it. So the first thing you'll do after you cut your 5.5 by 4.25 piece of cardstock is you're going to measure over up here at the top to 2 1/8 inches and put a dot. You can draw a line down the whole center if you want, which is 2 1/8 inches. And then what you're going to do is you're going to measure down 4, that's not right. Let me fix that. I think that's supposed to be 2 3/4 inches, not 4 3/4 inches. Yeah, so let me fix that. So you're going to measure from that dot that you put in the middle. You're going to measure down 2 3/4 inches from the top to the center and draw another dot. Okay, and so then from each corner of the top, you're going to measure over 1 1/8 inch and draw a dot. And then you're just going to take your ruler and go from that dot down to this dot and draw yourself a line and cut out that pie shape. So I made it way more complicated than it was. Draw a dot at 2 1/8 inch, measure down 2 3/4 inches, draw another dot in the center, measure over 1 1/8 inch from each corner, draw a dot, draw your pie shape and cut it out. Okay, and then just hang on to this, and then you don't have to do this each time you make a card. Get your little template out, cut your rectangle 5.5 by 4.25, put this on top, draw your V and cut it out. And that's what I'm going to do now. So let me get out my parts and pieces here. This just makes up the cutest cards, you guys. Okay, so The paper I'm using, I got out an old embossing folder I had to this one, the Subtle Dynamic, and we may or may not end up using this, I'll decide. But yeah, that's a retired one, but I love that. But this paper here already has the look of fabric. And let me show you what paper it is. It is the, let me see, I don't need that. It's the Country Lace Designer Series paper. So while on one side it's this pretty sort of eyelet pattern on most of the pages, on the back side, look, this one looks just like denim. This one's got pillow ticking sort of look about it, but I am going to use some of this today for the pockets on our hoodie. This is another like lighter colored, sort of still has that denim look. This is the one we're using for the jacket. This one's got polka dots, but yeah, it's just a really cool paper pack. And so you really have to look at the papers because it's not just this fun lacy eyelet look. Okay. So I'm just going to line my template up that I made with my paper and draw my V here. So this is really handy to have. So I just highly suggest making one, and then you will have it and it will make your whole process faster with each card you want to make. I think those scissors need to be cleaned. Okay, so there's that. Now then, next up, we're going to do the zipper. And I went ahead and I have already die cut my pieces. Now, the ends don't die cut. So you just have to cut that apart. And I'm sure there's a reason for that. Where's my one little scissors I want? Here we go. I'm sure there's a reason for that, because if you only wanted to make like a 3/4 zip or something, you would want it to end. You could go ahead and cut that right out of that paper if you wanted to, or whatever paper. But yeah, they made the ends so the ends don't cut off, which is kind of handy. The line is still there from the die, if you can see that, so you know where to cut. Oh, I hate having a snuffed up nose. It's only one side at least, so I can still breathe. Okay, so let me just cut down here and snip this off. There we go. Okay, so there is that piece. I'm going to bring my little silicone mat in here too. All right. So you're not going to line it up with the top of the card because you can still see what I'm going to call the fabric showing. So what you're going to do, am I close enough here? What you're going to do is pull it up until you can't see your paper anymore. And then you're going to line it up. But I'm going to go ahead and put, I find wet glue to be the easiest, but you use whatever works for you. And I'm just going to go ahead and right along the edge here, put some glue. Both sides. And then that's going to come down a little bit in the middle. So I'm going to go ahead and put some glue there, because we're going to use the rest of the zipper to go the full length here. So let's just put this here. And then you just kind of have to pull it over to where you want, and then I'm going to turn it over. I don't want to lay this back down and get glue on my silver because it's hard to get off of there, but I'm going to just pull that over a little bit, make sure that it's onto the paper, because we're going to go ahead and put trim on either side of that as well. Okay, so there we go. And my glue will dry and not show there, so I'm not worried about that. So we've got that on, and we'll trim those other pieces off here in a bit. And actually, before I unsnip this apart, since it's together there, the zipper does cut it apart in the middle. So what I'm going to do is grab my tear and tape, and I'm just going to run that down because I don't want that part of the zipper coming apart. So I'm just going to go ahead and run it down a ways. I don't need to do the full length because I'm not going to need that long of a piece of this zipper. And that will just keep that zipper together there, and will make it a little bit easier. Okay, and then I like to line up my zipper, so because you're going to piece these together. Let me see if I trim it right. Usually I end up having to trim it a couple of times to get it to match up, but we'll see how this one works out here. It's not going to show too much anyway. And I don't really think you want to overlap it. Because then that'll create a bump. But your zipper pull is going to kind of hide it where it comes together. So it's not that big of a deal. I'm not getting it quite right. Let's see. So it's going down. I don't know that it matters that much. I think I just need to trim off one little bit more, like that maybe. Okay, that's better. All right. And I'm just gonna put some glue along each side, and then I can pull that tear and tape off and stick it on. So if you have the ability to get on the chat, please do and say hello. I know if you're watching it on your TV that you can't do that. I do a lot of my video watching on the TV. And I got glue on my zipper, but that's okay because I'm going to be putting trim on there. So I'll just wipe it off, but it will be covered up. Okay, so there we go with that. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and snip off the extra. There we go. I would love to hear your ideas of what you would do with this zipper, what you would do with these zippers other than making a hoodie, because I know, hi BFF, hi Sue. I know there are lots of ideas running around in people's heads. Okay, so now I've cut 2 of the trim pieces out of the same paper, and I'm just going to pull this in here. And I've got my finger dauber. Now this color in the paper pack is smoky slate. And I wanted my trim to have just a little bit of darker color to it than the rest of the jacket. Not much, just enough so that the trim actually stands out a little bit. So I'm just going to rub over it with the same color of ink. And it's still going to leave that white within the what looks like the thread. It's still going to leave that in there, but it's just going to make it a little bit darker than the original. Oh, by the way, I've got an order in this morning from Stampin' Up of a few things I ordered when they had their free shipping, so I will show those to you when we're done here. All right, so there's that. So now for this, all you do is see how it comes into a little bit of a point there. You're going to line that up, and we're going to overlap it just like on a real hoodie, how the trim is overlapped the edge of the zipper a little bit. So you just pull it up till the point is where you want it to line up with the other point. The other thing I was going to say is if you don't want the opening of your hoodie down that far, you can always, on your template that you make, you can just don't measure down that far. Measure down to the length of wherever you want it to open to before you cut your little pie shape. Okay, so I'm going to line that up right about like that. I'm trying to be careful here not to get glue on the zipper part. And I'm going to get myself a wipey so I can get the glue off my fingers. NFL team jacket, yes. Now, Joe, when we did them at her house, she happened to have some of the paper for the Oregon State, the beavers, and I think she might have the ducks too. I can't remember. And I don't know that you can get that paper anymore, but so she was able to make for Oregon State, she cut one of the logos off the paper and put the little, you know, patch on one of the jackets she made, and it's so cute. I suppose you could go online maybe and find something to print out. I made one for our grandson, but I already sent it off. I will post it probably in the next day or so. And I didn't have a, well, he's not in college yet. He graduates from high school this year, but his birthday's coming up. And so I made one, and he's on the golf team. And so I had some paper with golfing things on it. So I did the shirt with the golf paper, and I did the hoodie black, and it turned out really cute. Okay, so there's that, and now we can trim those extra little pieces off. It's getting cute already. Okay, let's do the pockets. So I have a piece of the striped paper. There's what is on the other side, that kind of eyelet. And I waited to cut the pockets out to show you, since I'm using striped paper, you want your stripes to be where you want them, right? So what I did was I just put them on the paper together, and I'm just going to pick that one stripe there. Let's see, I'm going to have to move over a little bit so they fit on my scrap of paper here. Okay, I think I've got it now. And then I'm just going to tape them together in the middle right there like that. Let me grab my little machine here. I think this will fit in here. Yep. And if I can turn it slightly, I'm going to, just so that they're not going in there completely flat against the roller. There we go. It'll grab that one corner first. Now with any paper that's probably not stripes, you wouldn't have to worry about doing that, but if you want your stripes to be fairly straight if you're using stripes. Okay. And then I think I have enough ink to, I just kind of wanted to go around the edges a little bit of this, of these pockets with that gray. Not like a whole bunch. You don't want your pockets looking dirty. Unless you do. Maybe you do. Now this would be, I'm doing this to fit more for a guy. The first two cards, and I'll show you them here at the end. I did show them before, but in case you missed it, the ones I made at Joe's house, they both ended up being for looking more for a girl, and it was all because of the neckline length on the shirt. And I'll show you what I mean about that here in a second. So I wanted to make some that looked more for a boy, because boys' shirts typically, unless they're like a tank top or something, aren't, you know, as low as a girl's neckline on her shirts. Now, if you want, you can put your pockets right up to the trim, you know, because a lot of hoodies, that's where the pockets are. They're right up against the trim, but I'm going to go ahead and put them out to the edge. You put your pockets wherever you want to put them. They look cute in both places, I think. And you want to do all of this stuff really before you put this onto the front of your card. And that all has to do with the strings. If you want strings from like the imaginary hoodie that's on the back of this, the hood, if you want the strings on, you need to put them on before you put this whole piece onto the front of your card. So if you don't have the card sitting there being tempted, tempting you to put it onto the card, just don't have it sitting there quite yet, and then you won't be tempted to do that. Okay, so there's that. Now, where's my zipper pull? Here it is. We can go ahead and put that on. And I'm just going to line it up right about there. I'm not going to fuss any more with that because I don't want to smear the glue around. All right, now then, let's do the strings. I've just got some white twine here. And you just kind of have to gauge how long you want your strings to hang down. So I'm going to do, and then you're going to tuck it around to the back. So I think I'll do 2 pieces about that length there. And I'm going to just set those aside because we still need to do the shirt. Okay, so for the shirt, I chose this paper here. This is from the designer series paper. And this is in the Regals that comes in all the different color families. So I picked this one out, which happens to be Blueberry Bliss. And then you'll need a circle punch. I'm using my 2-inch circle punch, and this is where I'm talking about the neckline. So you're going to put your paper in here, and okay, I didn't really measure this, I just cut it out. You want a piece of paper that's going to be long enough so when you back it up here that you don't have a gap showing. Okay, so your shirt's going to be in there like that. And we're going to cut just a little circle out for the neckline. So that's the size of paper I used. And when I was doing this at Joe's class, I had my paper turned this way and my paper was smaller. And I was trying to make it on that particular card for a guy. And when I went to put it up there, I was short. I wasn't paying attention to what I was doing. I was short. So then I had to redo it, turn my paper this way. And yeah, I got the neckline too low for it to be a guy shirt. So that's just the thing you have to pay attention to. So I'm just going to only cut that much out because we're doing a crew neck here. Okay, so that's going to be my neckline. So that looks about right. Then I want the trim to be a solid color. So I just pulled out a piece of the Blueberry Bliss, and I'm just going to cut it out about the same as I did the neckline on the other, and then you're going to put it back in whatever you want the width of your trim to be, if that makes sense. And I'm going to cut that little sliver out. That's all I need. That's all I need. Excuse me, my mouth is getting so dry. I took an allergy pill, and I don't know if that's what's making it dry, but possibly. I'm going to pull my tweezers in here. And I'm going to use wet glue just because that's what I like to use. And then we're just going to put the trim on here. Okay. Now, if you want to run this through an embossing machine, now would be the time to do that after you have the trim on there. And I'm going to go ahead and do that. So I'm using, like I said, this Subtle Dynamics embossing folder. And I'm just going to pop the whole thing in here. And this has a very like fabric type texture to it. If you can see that, I'm not sure if it's coming across, but let me run this through my machine. I'll be right back. Okay, so I don't know if that's showing up, but you can definitely see the texture on the trim. You can't see it so much on the shirt. You can feel it because of the pattern that's on the shirt already, but and then we'll just line it up back there. So I'm going to put glue just along all the edges. Now, a button-down shirt would be really cute to create with this too, because you'd be able to see the buttons in the jacket opening. Okay, let's just pull this over and line this up here. Okay, so we still need to do the strings. So I'm just going to tie a little knot in towards the bottom of each one. And I'm not going to pull it extremely tight because I'm going to put a little glue on those knots just so I can have them sticking down on the front of the card there, and they're not flip-flopping. The strings won't be flip-flopping all over the place. I'll show you here in a second. But for the back, securing it on the back, I'm going to use, you can use glue, but I'm going to use the mini dots. I'm just going to put one near the corner of the neck on each side there. And then we'll get one of the strings here, and I've left plenty of room, so you just decide how long you want it hanging down there in the front, and then wrap it to the back, and I'll trim that off a little bit. So there's the strings. Let's get it trimmed off the back here just a bit. And then I'm just going to put a little dab will do ya. Okay, a little dab of glue. What was that from? Dippity Doodah, or was that from a guy's Brill Cream? It was from the Brill Cream commercials. A little dab will do ya. You may not be old enough to remember that. Okay, so I just need to hold it in place there for a second. Probably if I had a block out here, I could use a block to there, but that glue dries so fast. I love this glue. Okay, so we'll put a little dab on this one. Yeah, Dippity Doodah was a hair setting gel back in the day. I can't remember if it came in different colors, but it was mostly pink. And there was another hair cream, while I'm holding this down and letting the glue dry, I'm going to tell you, called VO5, and that stuff smelled so bad. I don't know if it's still around. And when I would go over to my grandma's, if I spent the night over there, she would get out the VO5 and grease up my hair and braid it, and she braided so tight, and I am so tender-headed, and it was like torture to have your hair braided. Okay, so now I've got a card base made out of smoky slate, 4 1/4 by 5 1/2, and we're just going to get this glued onto the front here, and I'm going to go ahead and use my ATG. And I'm rolling right over the top of those strings to help hold them in place even more. I'm going to put a little extra on. Okay, let's just get this lined up. I always just start in the bottom corner, get it where I want it, go up the side, and then just kind of let it fall. I've got a little extra adhesive coming out there. Okay, so there's that, and then I've got a piece of white for the inside. And as usual, I'm not going to put a greeting on it right now, because this card could be anything you want it to be. It would be a great Father's Day card, cute birthday card, any kind of card really, because we're not putting a greeting on the front. Not that you can't. You can of course put a greeting on the front if you want to. Okay, so there you have it. Oh no, I'm not done yet. One more thing. Where are they? Okay, so I'm going to put some little rivets is the only word I can think of, and I am using a retired embellishment. I'm sure you probably have like me, a gazillion embellishments in your arsenal to use, but I wanted some little flat white ones, and I found these. I think these were from an old Christmas one because it's called All the Trimmings. And I'm just going to put one there and one down here on the pockets. You could totally just go around with a marker and add stitching on the pockets if you wanted to, or you don't have to put anything on the pockets. But I'm just doing that. Dippity-doo, yeah. Dippity-doo. I don't remember what their commercials were like, but I remember the product. Okay, so there you have it. There's that one. I made the same, but I did a red shirt on this one, and I did not run it through the embossing folder. I like the embossing. Now see, you can see my trim came out a little bit skinnier on this shirt than it did on that. It all has to do with how far you go down with your circle punch when you're punching. So there are those. Let me bring in the cards that I made at Joe's house again in case you missed seeing those the first time. Now see how the neckline is lower? Much more, looks more feminine. So there's that one, and we used that same embossing folder and embossed. We used a more floral embossing folder to do the shirt, and we used just cardstock and not patterned paper. And then this one I had intended on making, this was the one I messed up. I had intended on making this a guy card, but I got the neckline way too low for that. So yeah, so there's that. So yeah, that's my advice. If you're making a guy card, just make it so it looks like a crew neck and not lower for like a girl card. Okay. So there's that, and then I'm going to show you what I got in that's new, and then I've got a special little book to read out of for story time today. So let me grab my new stuff. I'm just going to set it all here in a pile. And I want to go back and correct something that I said in one of my videos. I said that I didn't buy a lot of 12 by 12 paper. I was talking about, you know, scrapbooking paper and stuff. Well, I don't know why I said that, because of course I buy a lot of 12 by 12 pattern paper from Stampin' Up. I have tons of it. But most of it has smaller patterns on it and stuff that is appropriate for making cards, as compared to 12 by 12 paper that is meant specifically for creating page layouts and has big prints that are made for 12 by 12 scrapbooking. And that's what I had in my mind when I said that about buying 12 by 12 paper. But I do have a ton of 12 by 12 paper. It's just that I don't buy what I would consider to be scrapbooking paper. Okay, so I bought, this is nothing new, I bought a thing of Cajun Craze cardstock because I didn't have that color in my stash, which I couldn't believe. Okay, tags to go. This is a new set. Now the new things, let me see, let me grab the new catalog. This is what it looks like. I still can't show it to you. This goes live on May 6th, and so I can't show you the inside. But this is one of the sets, and it's called Tags to Go. And so I like the size. This looks like a motel room key tag thing, right? But I like the size of these. And this tag, isn't that so cute? This one you could like tear the bottom off or whatever, or you could actually fold that up. This would be really cute in a journal, to fold that up and make a little tiny pocket with a cute little message in it. But this is the stamp set here. It is a red rubber stamp set. Excuse me. So I really liked this. If you do ATC cards, this would be a fun stamp to have to put on the back of your ATC card too, I think. But so there's some fun images in here, and I think the dies are super cute. Tags to go. And then this set, I don't buy a whole lot of floral things as far as floral stamps, but I fell in love with this Year of Flowers because I think just because they're little and it's so cute, and I absolutely love the font they used in this set. But all of these stamps are the stamp for the month, okay? And it's got the month on there. My birthday falls in August, and look, I've had this. My husband bought me this ring. It has my birthstone and the month, or the flower for the month of August. And this was the ring he bought me for our first anniversary. And we are coming up on our 50th anniversary. But you can see here that it's indeed the same flower, which I think is some sort of a lily. And so anyway, I got that, and this is the die set, which cuts those all out, and I really loved that it cuts those out. And then it's got one little label sort of die in here, and 3 pieces of greenery to go along with it. But yeah, and this is also red rubber stamps, Year of Flowers. And then along with the tag set that I just showed you, tags to go, I got the suite of products for that set. And so it comes with, if you get the suite, it comes with these. You can also buy these separately. On the Go Puffy stickers, you get 2 sheets. So it's got, let me pull the stamp set back over. It's got this little one, which I think the date might fit in there. I'm not positive. But words will fit in there for sure. It's got these cute little things that look like postage stamps. Some little tags here, and then little arrows and stars. And bigger arrows things up here. Oh, and there's more stuff, so let me go ahead and pull it out so we can see all the things. So there you go. And they are puffy. So those are cute. And then also you get this twine. All these things can be bought individually, but these are really pretty colors of twine, and that's called Pack Your Bags Twine 3-pack. So the colors all coordinate with the paper. You get these boxes, which are suitcase treat boxes. How cute. So as you can see here, once it's all put together, there's a piece that punches out there that is the handle. And you can stamp on these to decorate them. You can brayer color on if you want. You can cover them with your patterned paper before you fold them up, or afterwards you can cut pieces and glue on, which would also be really cute. And so you get 12 in this. So those would be really cute to put treats in, or just little gifts. And then this is the paper called On the Go. So let's open this up and see what it looks like. Glad Olias. Thank you, Sue. Thank you, Danita. Okay, let's see what these papers look like. This would be really cute paper here to make a card if you've got somebody going on vacation or something and you want to. Or you could make cards up ahead of time if you're going on vacation and send back to people maybe. There's the back of that one. There's one with all the different little tags. And there's the back of that one. What do you call those little place things that point? I can't think of what they're called. Ooh, that's cute. That's very cute. And there's the back. That would be a good one for like a sea life card, actually, with that little bit of wave. Oh, and then we've got some cut aparts in here. And there's the back of that. Let me scooch that down. And is that the same that we just looked at? I think it is. Yeah. Okay, that was the same. And then, oh, that's really cute with suitcases all over it. And there's the back of that. And then, oh, we've got tags that you can just cut out. So there's a whole page, 2 whole pages of that. And there's the back of that, kind of looks like a building diagram or something to me. And that's it. So that is the On the Go Designer Series paper. Okay, now we can get to story time. And since Mother's Day is just around the corner, I have this little grandmother's tiny book. I think this is one that I either got off of eBay or I got at Goodwill. And I thought it was really cute. And we'll see if I can read it because the writing is very, very tiny. But it's called Grandmothers. Look at that cute page there. Okay, grandmothers. For many of us, visits to grandmother were the highlight of our holidays and school vacations. With her, we shared little confidences and secrets which we would have never told our parents or siblings. Our grandmothers merit a special place in our hearts because they understand us as no one else does or can. Their cozy warmth, wonderful cooking, and bedtime stories are snuggled securely in our memory banks. Even as adults, our grandmothers retain a hold in our hearts. For some of us, that hold is just a string of sweet memories. For others, it is an ongoing friendship based on mutual admiration and affection. Whether we call her Grandma, Mimmy, Granny, or Nana, we cherish and adore her. My grandkids call me Pumpkin. Friend. If ever a child has a perfect friend, it is a grandmother. Our grandmothers enthrall us with stories of their youth, bake us our favorite cookies, spoil us unashamedly, and along with an overabundance of hugs and kisses, chide us ever so gently when we misbehave. What feeling is so nice as a child's hand in yours, so small, so soft and warm, like a kitten cuddling in the shelter of your clasp? And that was a poem by Marjorie Holmes. Here's another. A mother becomes a true grandmother the day she stops noticing the terrible things her children do because she is so enchanted with the wonderful things her grandchildren do. And that's by Lois Wise. Perfect love sometimes does not come until the first grandchild, and that's a Welsh proverb. It is better to be loved than feared, and that's a Sinhalese, I know I'm not saying that right, Sinhalese proverb. And I think I will stop there for today. Let me just put the little sleeve there like that. and we'll read some more. We'll just read in there until we're done reading each week. Oh, and one other thing I got in my thing, I had set it aside here and missed it, is I got another circle punch. I have the 2-inch one, which is the one I used today. And then I ordered the 1 3/4 inch one, so a little bit smaller, but it's great for when you want to layer circles up together. So yeah, so I'll turn them over and you can kind of see the difference there too. This is the 2-inch and the 1 3/4. Okay, that's that. Thanks so much for joining me today, and cute cards, I think. All right, you guys take care. Happy crafting. Have a great weekend ahead, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye-bye.